Howdy, everybody. I'm driving down the highway and watching my speed, thinking about my maximum rate of speed versus the risk of having to deal with so-called law enforcement. And it's got me thinking about this notion that driving past cops when you're going over the limit but under what they usually tolerate is kind of like walking by a hornet's nest. It's like when you see the cop, you get that same kind of feeling. It's like, this thing ain't gonna kill me, most likely. For some people, that might not be safe of a bet, but it's like you don't want to mess with it, though. You don't want to get stung. Getting a ticket, it's a big pain. It's not something you want. And you see them, and it's like that fear, and like, you know, you're already going past them at a little over the speed limit. It's like, are they going to attack or not? And I think, like, it seems that police wouldn't want to be thought of like that they wouldn't. The people working in this field, don't they care that they're seen as these predators almost, these sort of threats to us? It seems to me that we could be doing better, and that there could be ways to make sure that maximum safety is achieved with minimal interference. And I guess I don't see that they're there for my safety. No one really believes that. It's like they're just there to, it's a tax. It's a surprise tax for a really minor infraction that really is causing no harm to anybody. Going 10 miles over the limit or 12 miles over the limit. And so it feels to me that rather than abolishing police, we just need to revisit what it is they're actually authorized to do and find other ways to make sure that the roads are safe. I personally believe that we shouldn't have speed limits at all. I believe that, let's just say for instance, what if you put it to the world and said, hey guys, no more speed limits, period. However, your car is constantly tracking its own speed, and if you're in an accident, it's got a database that will tell everybody officially how fast you were going during that accident, right before it. And therefore, if you're speeding and you get in an accident, it's worse. The penalties are worse. You don't punish people for something that they might do. If there's going to be punishments, if there's going to be sort of civil justice like that, it's got to be once an aggression, a crime, a harm has actually been done. And if you hit somebody or if you do something bad, then you have to pay for that. A lot more if you're going way over the safe speed limit. And they can even post what is about safe. They don't have to not have speed suggestions. They just shouldn't be trying to threaten us with violence if we don't pay these inordinate fines that they levy against us just because we went faster than they said we should in that moment. And everyone knows the feeling of being in a a construction zone where there's these signs and these orange cones and the speed limit drops 15 miles an hour and there's absolutely no reason to be going slow because there's absolutely nothing going on. There's nobody there, right? But there might be a cop hanging out waiting to give you a ticket because he knows you're likely going to want to speed. That kind of thing is just inappropriate. That seems to me like it's just criminal behavior. And for that to be like the law of the land, for that to be the main thing that the courts and the cops are doing. Let's not say the courts, but the cops primarily are out there dishing out citations for minor infractions. And of course they're also available to respond to serious emergencies, and we're thankful for them for that. But let's just cut out all this other parasitic crap that they're doing. How about? Then maybe you won't have people going around saying fuck the police, because, you know, if you're not harming anybody, no one's going to have any problem with you. So I think that there are other ways to achieve the level of safety and security we want around our communities. Other ways than these law enforcement officials who have all of this power over us, and who, you know, should they choose to arrest us, they can seize your property, they can kick in your door if they think you're doing something bad. And usually, what are they kicking your door for? I mean, sometimes I guess they're going after serious, like, criminal, like they're after a suspect, or not even a suspect, someone that they've already convicted and they're trying to get, like they've escaped. I don't know, like, what's a legitimate excuse to kick someone's door in? There aren't very many. But the main reason they do it is because people are possessing substances that they deem to be illegal, which is also a complete completely ridiculous premise, and it's something that the police should absolutely have no authority over. The cops should have no say about what anybody does with their own bodies. Now, one of the real contentious issues in this discussion is drunk driving. Alcohol definitely impairs people's ability to drive, especially at a certain point in your inebriation. It impairs it to the point where you really shouldn't drive, and to even try to drive should be, if not, let's say, criminal offense, it should be immediately censured by everybody. Like, nobody should let that happen. It's not just like the cops should pull them over once they've done it and take them to jail, although that's not a terrible idea. I guess I feel like we don't... This is tricky. It's real tricky because you don't want people taking that risk. But when someone does take the risk and they don't hurt anybody, was a crime committed? To what extent is risking harming someone criminal? Because technically, even just driving risks harming someone. I could kill someone in this giant machine I'm driving anytime. And I feel like the world as we know it is based on this premise that people are just going to have to take their chances. Of course, the world as we knew it, we might say, because now there are institutions out there trying to tell us that we shouldn't be allowed to take chances and that all risk should be completely eliminated by basically locking ourselves up in some sort of sterile, completely locked down environment. And then we'll be safe, right? In our cages. So I'm not for that, obviously. I guess I'm trying to envision ways where we have a voluntary, non-coercive, completely in service of the public to whatever extent the public wants to be served by it, institutional powers that could be like a global system. It could be a global system of cooperation instead of a global system of coercion. And so all this idea about the globalists and the globalists are trying to get us, it's like, by that I think people mean the cabal of international powerful families and wealth interests that are conspiring to reduce the sovereignty of nations and reduce the mobility and freedom and financial opportunity for people to build this sort of global dictatorship that they want. That globalist, no. But in the idea of being a global community, I'm for it. I really am. I want to be connected to everywhere. I don't want to have a passport to go anywhere. I want to be able to go anywhere in the world I want and have voluntary interactions with people and spend my money as I want to spend it. And make money if someone has money they want to pay me to do something. Why shouldn't we just have that? Why do we have to have somebody in control of it all? And the answer is we don't, but we've been programmed to believe we do. Everyone believes, not everyone, fewer and fewer people these days, but so many people believe that everything would fall apart and there'd be all this chaos and everything would fall, into ruin if we didn't have conspirators who are forcing the public to do things based on their opinion of what the world should look like. And so I guess I'm looking to spin a different narrative here and to find more people who are on board with it, because collectively we can build it, we can do it. We can just do our own thing. We don't have to even pay attention to these people who are trying to rule us and own us as if we're their property. We can basically walk off of the reservation, and we better do it soon because they're building fences right now. It's going to get harder and harder to walk away once they get you locked in. And so I advise everybody to pay attention to the energy exchanges you have and assess them and find the ones that aren't voluntary. Find the ones that aren't to your liking, and really think about that. Really think about whether or not you want to continue to do that, whether or not you have to continue to do that, or whether or not maybe you could choose not to. You could choose not to forcefully contribute to or participate in a system that you don't believe in. And I speak primarily here of taxation, but I also speak of participation in any kind of mandated culture. There's businesses that went against their own better instincts and did what the government supposedly, I don't even know, what the county commissioners, the state governors, like there's all these different sources of mandates now. We're living in like the decade of mandates, and it's very dangerous for us to start believing that this is normal, acceptable, legal, like none of that. It's none of that. And so when I was thinking of cops earlier, it's a similar thing. It's like in the old days, before cars, before the 20th century, there was no police out there telling you were riding your horse too fast and giving you a ticket for it. They didn't fine you for anything, really. I mean, there were probably some cases, especially in cities, where they were moving towards the system. But the point I'm getting at here is that they had to slowly convince the public that it was legitimate and legal for the cops to take your property and take your body away against your will just because you might hurt somebody, right? Because that's all most violations are. It's not that there's an actual victim, it's that you just didn't follow the rules they set, and they claim that the rules are for everyone's safety. So their justification for hauling you away is that it's for everyone's safety. Just like their justification for, all the madness that's going on right now is for everyone's safety. But if you'll notice, safety hasn't improved. Nobody's getting safer. But the centralized control of day-to-day life is going up. It's increasing. And so look at the results, not at the advertisement, right? Like, look at what's really happening, not at what they say is happening. Because if you haven't figured out yet, these people are liars. They don't tell the truth. They lie to you to get you to buy their product or to do what they say. They promise you that it's only for 2 weeks. They promise you that it's just until everything's safe again. And guess what? It never gets safe again. Y'all seeing this yet? Are we seeing the pattern here? And so it's up to us to build a better system. It's up to us to do something else. And first and foremost, we must withdraw our consent, our participation, and our funding from this apparatus, from this conglomerate of apparati, let's say, this massive system of corporate government power that is rapidly wrapping its coils, it's coiling its serpentine body around the earth and squeezing. It's going to squeeze us in if we let it. And I, my friends, am not going to let it. I'm not going to be hypnotized by Ka's spinning eyes like in the Jungle Book. Like, no thanks. I'll continue to take my chances. I don't need you to keep me safe. I don't need you to tell me how fast I should drive, or to tell me what plants I should consume, or to tell me, whether or not I'm allowed to go outside. Not happening. And it shouldn't happen for you either. If you're letting people tell you that, you need to ask yourself, are you a grown-up? Are you a child? Are they your parents? Are they our daycare center where they have, recess hour and we get to go play outside for a while and then it's back to, I don't know, like what are we doing here, people? Come on, we're grown-ups. Let's run this world ourselves. We don't need centralized powers. We can do peer-to-peer networks, we can do blockchain systems, we can do permaculture installations. We have all the technology and tools to just do this on our own and to tell these criminal psychopaths to piss off, because we don't need them. And I encourage you to not think that please don't just assume that none of this is real or happening. Surely you can see the world, you can see what's happening. Don't just assume that it's a crazy conspiracy theory that there are people attempting to lock down the world into a global dictatorship. It's no theory, it's factual. And I implore you to look into your own life and find out ways in which you're contributing, in which you're helping them, and figure out how to stop. Because if we don't soon, we're all going to be in real trouble. How gloomy. Here I am in this beautiful forest on the west coast, enjoying this lovely land, and I don't mean to spoil it with all of this rabble rousting, but I do believe that time is short, and it's really, really imperative that we get some things going. So join with me in Texas in March. I'll be announcing some stuff on that soon. Like, let's get together, people who want to talk about this and want to find ways that we can peacefully and legally organize new systems that don't have built into them these forceful, archaic systems of treating humans like cattle. So I'm going to sign off for now. Great talking with y'all. We'll see you the next time.